Let's get it. 580 Sports Talk is live and direct on a Thursday afternoon. Hi, hello, how the heck are you? Thanks for being with us on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and of course, on our video stream. Our YouTube channel is 580 Sports Talk. Our Facebook page is WIBW News. However, wherever, whenever you're listening to 580 Sports Talk today, thanks so much for being part of the audience. We'll make it worth your while. We'll have a funky good time these next 3 hours on 580 Sports Talk. My name is Dan Lucero. Spencer Dupuy and Brendan Dworzinski will be in a little while for portions of today's show. And I lied just now. I said 3 hours. We've actually got a little overtime today. We're going to take you till 6:30 on this edition of 580 Sports Talk. Then we'll hand it off to Westwood One's coverage of Thursday night football to open up week number 5 of the NFL season. We are your home for the NFL on Westwood One here in the capital city of Kansas. And we have got tonight's Thursday night matchup between the Rams and the 49ers. Pregame coverage again starting at 6:30. So we'll have a little bit of 580 Sports Talk overtime to get to. But the traditional 3-hour portion of the program is, as always, packed with good stuff. Lots of football, lots of Chiefs, lots of football to get to on today's edition of the show. We're going to talk about not quite the vibes for the Chiefs, because vibes are high. I mean, why wouldn't they be coming off of that impressive performance against the Ravens? But the feeling of a lack of concern about the Chiefs, that obviously winning is the greatest cologne, right? If there's anything that stinks, winning covers it up. But everything that felt worrisome for the Chiefs going into the season, and certainly coming out of the week 1 loss, and maybe even coming out of the 0-2 start, seems a little less pressing, seems a little less like it's going to derail the entire season, seems like it's trending in a positive direction. Not everything, perhaps, but of all the things we talked about that were potential concerns for the Kansas City Chiefs, I think a lot of them right now are trending towards positive resolutions. So we'll get into that a little bit. We will also bring back America's favorite game/recurring segment on 580 Sports Talk. That's right, folks. It's the quarter pole of the NFL season, and we're going to play Is It Good to celebrate. That's right. We're bringing back Is It Good, America's favorite and most lazily named sports talk segment, in which we will take a look at the NFL standings through the first 4 weeks and ask of teams that are off to better starts than maybe the experts predicted, is it good? Is that team good? And then we'll, if time permits, take a look at a couple of teams that are off to slower than anticipated starts and ask, are they good? Is it still good? That's the crux of the game. I mean, it's in the title, does what it says on the tin. Is it good? We'll play that later on, a quarter pole NFL season edition. We've got 2 great guests on today's program. We're going to hear a lot of Chiefs audio today as well. Later on this hour, we'll play Andy Reid's press conference from earlier today. Big Red taking to the dais at One Arrowhead Drive after practice today. We'll hear from Andy. We'll also hear from Patrick Mahomes. We'll run that in the 4 o'clock hour. You'll hear what QB1 has to say about the challenge of going up against the red-hot Jags defense, whether you think they're good or not. And I tend to think there's a little bit more luck than skill that is attributable to their start on the defensive side of the ball. They are playing very well. So it is a challenge. And you already know what Andy Reid thinks about the challenge of playing the Jaguars. He's looking forward to it. So we'll hear from both Big Red and QB1 later on in the show. And, of course, because it is a Thursday on 580 Sports Talk, we're going to talk to Mitch Holthus, voice of the Kansas City Chiefs. He will join us in the 5 o'clock hour, 5:25, thanks to our friends at Azure Credit Union and Hy-Vee. Mitch Holthus, the voice of the Chiefs, will join us as he does every week during the season. Also joining us on today's program for the local sports spotlight, our friend Rick Peterson of TopSports.news. Pistol joins us at the bottom of this hour. We'll get a look ahead to already week 5 of the high school football season. We're already halfway done with the regular season in high school football in the state of Kansas. Also get his thoughts on other high school sports, lots of league meets and city meets taking place in some of the other sports. And we'll get Pistol's perspective on what he's been covering, what they've been talking about over at TopSports.news. All that plus typical Thursday shenanigans. We'll play a little either or over under. We got another round of What Is Wrong With You. 580 Sports Talk headlines, top of the 5 o'clock hour, another playoff roundup. We end up with 3 winner-take-all baseball games today. Didn't get the 4th. Looked for a second there, like the Reds might beat the Dodgers. Might get after that wretched Dodger bullpen, but it was not to be. So that series is over, but there are 3 other series that we finished off today. One of them probably done by the time we get around to 580 Sports Talk headlines. Last check, it was 1-0 Detroit leading Cleveland. They were in the 4th inning when I turned it off in my office, and they are presently through 3.5 with the Tigers still on top 1-0. And your interaction with the program today as we go along. The text line is open, 785-272-9429. That is 785-272-9429. And you can also interact with us in the live chat on our YouTube stream. Again, the name of the channel is 580 Sports Talk. Go subscribe to the channel today. We got a ways to go to get to our next stretch goal, but you help us get there one by one, brick by brick. If you are not yet subscribed to the 580 Sports Talk YouTube channel, slam that subscribe button, because when we get to 900 subscribers, it's going to be some 580 Sports Talk karaoke up in here. So get us closer to the goal if you have yet to subscribe. And we would love to have you involved in the live chat on our YouTube stream. Again, the name of the channel is 580 Sports Talk. It's a great way to interact with your fellow listeners and your hosts as the show goes along. A good afternoon to Vance and Mark H. First one's in today. Tyler is in as well. To answer the question from the chat, one of the reasons people like to watch the show, maybe, I don't know that this is true, but I have heard maybe one person say this. This is one of the reasons that a person likes to watch the YouTube stream, is to see what kind of shirt or hat I might be wearing on a given day. And I am wearing today vintage Northwestern University baseball shirt. It is purple. It says Cat Power. It is a Wildcat. I understand that it may have looked at first blush like a K-State baseball shirt. I haven't found one of those with an old school K-State baseball logo. But I have this Northwestern baseball one, and I think it's pretty cool. So that's what I am wearing today. This is Northwestern baseball. But, hey, if you want to pretend it's K-State baseball, that works fine for me, too. It does say Cat Power, and it is a Wildcat, and it is a light purple, after all. So hello to everybody into the YouTube chat, and look forward to hearing from more of you as we go along today over there, 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. And to answer the question from the 785, if there will be an internet outage today that knocked our stream off the air with about 10 minutes to go in the show, I hope not. I hope not. You never can predict those things. That was like about a 3 to 5 minute outage that just completely derailed us on the YouTube stream. Of course, you were listening on the air. You had no idea. I mentioned it, but that was about it. So hopefully, fingers crossed, none of those today. I want to talk about the Chiefs to start things off today. Obviously, things feel really good for the Chiefs right now. We're coming off maybe the best regular season performance for the Chiefs in the post-Tyreek Hill era. I really believe that might be the case. I mean, you go back to the 2022 season and the 3 full seasons since the Tyreek Hill trade, now the first 4 games of 2025. There have not been many games where both the defense felt as dominant and the offense felt like it could score whenever it wanted to score. That is a feeling that used to be, that was just when you watched the Chiefs. That was what it was. Now they could score whenever they want. And it's been a while since it's felt that way. And we've seen some games where the offense really clicked, and we've seen some games where the defense was really excellent. And yeah, we've seen some of those happen in the same game. Typically, it is against completely overmatched competition and not a team the caliber of the Baltimore Ravens, even a banged up Baltimore Ravens team. Even if it's not quite the best, it is certainly in the discussion for one of the best regular season performances by the Chiefs over the last 4 seasons. So obviously you're coming off of that. Things feel pretty good as far as the Chiefs go. But it feels like most of the things we thought could potentially impede the Chiefs from getting back to where they want to be. The top of the AFC Championship game, the Super Bowl, the Lombardi Trophy, all of those things that are, I hate the phrase championship or bust, but when you're a dynasty, that is what it is. And the Chiefs are stamped. It is a certified dynasty that they're in the middle of right now. We think they're in the middle of it. I think they're in the middle of it because I think Patrick Mahomes is the most important piece of it. There are many who would like to argue that this is the end stage of this Chiefs dynasty. Good luck betting against 15. All I got to tell you. But when you are a dynasty, it is championship or bust. Either you win the whole thing or you get to play for the whole thing, or the whole year feels a little bit wasted. You don't get those opportunities every single year. The Chiefs kind of have, but you know what I mean. And most of the things that we thought could impede the Chiefs from those goals have turned out to at least look like they are heading in a better direction. You go through them one by one. The left side of the offensive line. For me, that was the concern coming out of preseason. Is Josh Simmons going to be good enough? He had some good reps in the preseason, but is he going to hold up over the course of full games against elite NFL pass rushing talent? And oh boy, Kingsley Suamataia looking shaky at left guard. I'm a little concerned about what that might be. Well, we're 4 games in. I think it's fair to say Suamataia has shown game over game improvement fairly consistently. And while he's not playing to like the Joe Tooney standard over there at left guard, he's been a guy you kind of forget about because his play isn't standing out in a real negative fashion. Meanwhile, we talked about Josh Simmons yesterday. He's got one of the better pass blocking grades among all NFL offensive tackles, according to Pro Football Focus. It grades him out as an average-ish starter, but the Chiefs have won Super Bowls with less, right? And made Super Bowls with way less. So the fact that Simmons has been able to play at that level in the early stages and do so against, it should be noted, 3 teams that have defensive lines that are as good as any in the game. Philadelphia and the Giants. And maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration when it comes to the Chargers, but you're still having to deal with the Khalil Mack and some of the other guys that they have. I'm not as worried about that as I was 4 weeks ago. That seems like it's coming along. So too does the explosiveness of the offense. Last week, you saw how much Xavier Worthy means to that. We have seen through the first 4 weeks that Tyquan Thornton has added to that. It's the darndest thing. Like, you look at the resumes of Tyquan Thornton and Marquez Valdez-Scantling next to each other to the point where they joined the Chiefs organization. And you would have figured, oh, they can make it shake with MVS, but Tyquan Thornton, yeah, that guy's got bust written all over him. Never mind that. And look, Thornton is faster. I mean, probably a step faster than MVS. But the thought process behind both players is kind of the same, right? Like, oh, MVS is a field stretcher. He's going to help you take the top off of defense. He's going to get down the field. He's going to run some 9 routes. He's going to catch some balls over the top. If defenses start to come in and respect that middle of the field and respect that quick game stuff that Mahomes is so good at throwing, we're going to be able to hit MVS over the top. It didn't quite work out that way, right? Tyquan Thornton has been, and this is not an original thought. This is something that we've talked about on the show, myself and Brendan, and I think that Matt Derrick and Matt Verderame have kind of made a similar comparison. that speed down the field has been a missing element for the Chiefs, and they added some of it back with Xavier Worthy. But now here's Tyquan Thornton, and he is like the ideal vision for what it would have looked like if it had worked out with MVS. That secondary field stretcher who can make a big play down the field. It's been a really, really promising start to the Tyquan Thornton era. Rashee Rice's presence is only going to make it even harder to defend this team. I think that, and look, if you're grading on a curve, I don't think, given the unlikelihood, let's call it, of assembling the same level of skill position talent under one roof again, you're just probably not going to get as lucky to draft a Hall of Fame wide receiver in the 5th round because you were willing to ignore his personal foibles. Like that was really lightning in a bottle. Being able to have Tyreek Hill rookie deal, quarterback rookie deal, Travis Kelce in his prime, and then, oh yeah, you had some extra money. You could go get a guy like Sammy Watkins, who when he was healthy was a pretty ideal number 2 outside receiver for that. I don't think it's ever going to be what it was. I think it's, in terms of the assemblage of talent, in terms of how the league plays now, it's a different league defensively. It's a bit more of a check down league now. And defenses have made that so. So I don't think we're going to get back to the days. I think that 54-51 game, Rams-Chiefs, like that's going to stand forever as a monument to an era of football that we're probably not ever going back to, or at least not anytime soon. So you have to grade on a curve. Like, is this offense going to be as explosive as the best Patrick Mahomes era offenses? I don't think it can get there. But if you just want to talk about post-Tyreek, can this be as explosive as the Chiefs offense have been since they shipped that guy out of town? Yes, I do think so. I think it's trending in that direction. And I can't wait to see what it looks like when they get Worthy back. If you had a concern about the secondary coming into this season, how do the pieces fit? Does Jalen Watson bounce back from a disappointing close to the season? What can Noel Williams give you as a rookie? How much can Christian Fulton help, especially since he missed pretty much all of training camp? Well, Fulton's injury hasn't really bothered the Chiefs because Noel Williams has emerged, because Jalen Watson has returned to form, and the safety play, again, I would like to see a few more takeaways from the Chiefs defense long term. I would like to see them take the ball away a little bit more often. But if you're not talking about Brian Cook and Shamari Connor and Jaden Hicks at the end of a game, that probably means they were pretty good. And we haven't talked about those guys in a few weeks because they're playing really well. So if that was a concern, I think that's less of one now. The concerns that still remain for the Chiefs, look, not everything is perfect. Not everything is hunky-dory. If it were, they'd be 4-0 and not 2-2, right? So the concerns that still remain for the Chiefs, I think the biggest two are the lack of juice from the running back room, though even there's a possible solution in-house in Rashard Smith, and the lack of pressure that the Chiefs are getting from a 4-man rush. They're getting pressure via the blitz. Steve Spagnuolo's never going to be shy about sending extra men, and that can work against Lamar Jackson, and that can work against Russell Wilson, and that can work against Jalen Hurts. It's worked against Hurts pretty much his whole career. There are going to be quarterbacks it's not going to work against. There are going to be games you're going to have to win with a 4-man pass rush. That's going to have to return to being effective. And it hasn't been yet. So I'm monitoring that, and I'm monitoring the use of the running back room. But honest to goodness, I read somewhere, and I don't remember who posted it to social media. It may have just been a random fan that somebody else retweeted and agreed with. But they posted something to the effect of, gosh, we're getting Kansas City and Buffalo in the AFC again, aren't we? And right now, I think you would have to say, yeah, probably. That still feels like the most likely AFC championship game, doesn't it? Especially with Baltimore's rough ride to start their season and all the injuries piling up. So we went from, in 2 weeks, with 2 wins, and the return of Xavier Worthy, We went from Chiefs in crisis to, are we really worried about these guys? That's how good they are. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll hear from Andy Reid after this. We're just getting started on this edition of 580 Sports Talk. Thanks for being here on this Thursday. Later on in the show, Mitch Holthus will join us, voice of the Chiefs at 5:25. In about 10 minutes, we'll hear from Rick Peterson from TopSports.news for our local sports spotlight. Right now, though, let's check in with Big Red. Andy Reid, head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, spoke earlier today.
Really don't have any injuries to mention. Everybody's going to practice today. Jacksonville is a good football team. We look forward to the challenge of playing them. Liam has stepped in there and done a nice job with that group, along with his coordinators and coaches, and they've got tremendous talent, and it shows. So on both sides of the ball and on special teams, and they're leading the league in turnovers or number one defense. I mean, you can start naming a ton of things on both sides of the ball that they're really good at. So look forward to that challenge. Time's yours.
Yeah, with turnovers, Andy, what stands out in that aspect about what they do defensively?
Yeah, they catch the ball well, first of all, and they work they're disciplined in their lanes on their zone drops, opportunistic on tip balls, and then they've stripped out a couple balls. So they go after it. You got to make sure that you're aware of that as you play them, for sure.
Andy, at the same time, you have only one turnover this season. What have you done as a team to kind of guard against that?
Right. Emphasize it, I guess. But the guys, it really comes down to the guys doing it. And the guys have done a nice job keeping it high and tight when needed, and not having tip balls, all the things that kind of lead to those. And then, this is a potential weather game, so you add that into it too. You got to make sure that you really take care of the football.
Andy had mentioned how the offensive line, both sides of the line, played very well, but especially the offensive lines came up with off the tray. Just as a quarter way through the season, how do you feel like they've just ascended, in your opinion, after this one?
Yeah, we're getting better there as we go, as they play together more. Trey's a beast. We know that. He gets in there and he'll battle with anybody. Tough guy. And like I said, the other day was it doesn't all have to be pretty. I just, you want to get the job done, and they're kind of doing that right now. So it's we've got some young guys that are getting better.
It seems like you're trusting Burchard maybe earlier than other rookies in previous years. I guess what has he shown you that he's able to handle that load?
Well, literally being able to handle it's half the battle. Just from a mental standpoint, he's picked it up well. He's in a good room where guys can help him and have done some of these things that we're asking him to do in the past. So he's willing to listen. Pretty humble kid, and works hard.
Coach, there was obviously a little, not altercation, but a back and forth between Coach Cohen and Robert Salah after the game. I know that's not anything anybody wants, but, what is the accusation you like? We talked about stealing signs and that kind of thing. What's the right way? You're kind of the old guard of the coaching fraternity. What's the right way to handle that?
Yeah, listen, it's been going on that goes on. So if you're going to put a sign out there, I just gave you one, you didn't see it. But but if you're going to put it out there, guys are going to look at it and try to sneak it from you. So the headsets have kind of taken away a little bit of that, but that's what it is. It's all part of it, and kind of move on. So, yeah.
Did you ever have any kind of conversation like that after a game?
No, but listen, those guys know each other. That's the thing. People, they're buddies and competitive, and we're at the same place last year, and so it gets brotherly, So they start arguing. That's all right. They're all right,
Coach, the last time you played a regular season game in Jacksonville with Jawan had to lash of penalties and came out of the game. This is obviously an emotional game for him, and he goes off the quarterback's cave. And so on a Monday night, it's going to be a big crowd. Is there a special focus for him this week with Kansas City?
Yeah, well, it's home, and he did play there at the same time. So I'm sure it will be emotional for him that way. And then he knows the other part of that. He knows he's got to focus in on not being too quick off the ball, and but at the same time being quick. It's you got to be on time, spot on, and so he's worked hard at that.
Coach, you kind of touched on this a little bit, but this is a new coaching staff, first time head coach, a bunch of brand new coaches coming into a situation. Just how impressive is it that they seem to kind of have a character already this early into a tenure of a guy?
Yeah, I think it's great. It's great for the league, and it's legit. So this is something they're playing good football, and they're coaching well. You can see the guys are listening to them and doing what they want, and it goes off to them. But I think overall it's good. It's good for the league to have that kind of competition, for sure.
Andy, with your wide receivers, you getting Xavier back, obviously, it means less playing time for someone this last week with Taekwon. I just wonder, is this going to be like a week-to-week thing to sort of analyze maybe best guys to use if you want guys to get in a certain role or rhythm?
Yeah, there's one ball. So the guys know that. And as long as you stay humble with it, and you don't get that hungry thing where you start wanting and then don't play. But I mean, the guys have done a great job. They're all good buddies, and they're kind of pulling for each other. But you want to maintain that. That's a tough thing. So when you have a number of guys, what's real is there's one football.
Coach, you probably addressed this Monday, and I apologize. How did the offense? Was the offense as good as it looked to us just watching the game?
Yeah, listen, there were some good things. There's some things we've got to work on. Can we be better? Absolutely. On the offensive side, Matt has done a good job of finding things with Joe Blameyer. These guys are finding things that work for the guys that are playing, and kind of the offensive line did their thing. They got another huge challenge this week, and this defensive line is a good one. So it's every week is its own deal. But this past week there were some good things that took place. Just got to keep building on that.
Sorry.
Coach, I know we've had Deion Sanders play both ways a little bit, but no one's really kind of leaned all the way into it the way the Jaguars are with Travis Hunter. I'm just curious of, what do you think, how difficult that is to try to be up to speed on both sides of the ball? And is there anyone you were ever tempted to try that with?
Yeah, you get a good player, you'd love to be able to do that. I think Troy Brown did it for a little bit, where receiver, DB, and nickel position. So it takes a special guy to jump in there and be able to do that. My hat goes off to the kid. I mean, that's not. It's hard being a rookie, and really hard doing both sides, knowing both sides of the ball. So.
That was Andy Reid earlier today, his media availability midweek out at One Arrowhead Drive. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, it's the local sports spotlight with Rick Peterson of TopSports.news on 580 Sports Talk. We are joined on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline by Rick Peterson of TopSports.news for the local sports spotlight. Every Thursday at this time, we turn our attention toward Shawnee County High School sports and the Washburn Ichabods, and nobody covers them like Pistol at TopSports.news. Pistol, let's start with a look ahead to Week 5 in high school football, and we'll start with our 580 Preps Game of the Week. Tomorrow night, we will have action from Bowen Glaze Stadium. It's homecoming night for Washburn Rural, and they open Centennial League play against a 3-1 Topeka High team. And we'll start with Washburn Rural, coming off of a really good win on the road against Blue Valley Northwest last week. The 3-1 Junior Blues, they're flying high, and they look like they're kind of back in that form that saw them go to back-to-back sectionals just a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that was a statement win last week, and it was a rout. And, 31-7, and they're looking really good. They got the tough part of their schedule coming up, a tougher part of their special coming up with, Manhattan on the horizon and Junction City. And, of course, that game last week got everybody's attention when Junction City knocked off Manhattan. So it's going to be interesting from here on, but they'll obviously want to play well tomorrow night against Topeka High, and I'm happy with what Coach Philbeck's been done with Topeka High too. So it'll be a good game.
Regarding Topeka High, they're 3-1. They're coming off a 1-point win over Emporia last week. And the thing that has stood out about the Trojans is their defense. They haven't been explosive offensively, particularly the last couple of weeks, but defensively, they are really keeping their opponents in check. And that defense maybe faces its stiffest test yet against John Hoytel and that rural offense.
Yeah, and they will really have to play well because rural's putting up some points, Even in the loss to Platte County, they scored. So they're usually gonna score.
What has impressed you the most about what Jason Philbeck has done in now a year and a half over there at Topeka High? They've won 7 games in a year and a half, which is more than they'd won in the 4 seasons prior. Obviously, they've got their biggest tests coming up. So this is a big prove-it game for that program to prove that they can stand in the middle of the ring and trade blows with the Centennial League 6A contenders.
Which is exactly what Coach Philbeck told me in preseason, that they wanted to prove that they could compete in the Centennial League. And it's going to take a while, but I do think they're making some progress, like you said, particularly on the defensive side of the football. This will be a good test for them just to see if they can again play with a legitimate 6A team.
Rick Peterson at TopSports.news is our guest on the local sports spotlight here on 580 Sports Talk. Another team with something to prove this Friday night, the Highland Park Scots. They are back in action after their forfeit against Harmon last week following the incident that occurred in their Week 3 game against Schlegel. Now, this will be a team that comes out against a non-league foe, Wichita East. So they're playing up a class. Wichita East is Class 6A. And the Blue Aces, maybe not quite what they've been the last couple of years, but still a very good team in that Greater Wichita Athletic League. They're 2-2 with their 2 losses against 2 of the best teams in the state, Wichita Northwest and Cape and Mount Carmel. So this will be a hard game for Highland Park, but I got to believe there's a chip on Jermaine Monroe's program's shoulder, not just in terms of wanting to get back out there and play well, being eager to play, but also to rewrite their story a little bit after the disappointment of what occurred during Schlegel.
Okay, well, listen, we will be posting a story soon. Todd Fertig of our staff is working on that, but there will be, Highland Park will not play tomorrow night. They will forfeit a second straight game with this because of mainly the lack of available varsity players. So that game will not be played tomorrow night. Understood.
Okay, well, you're breaking some news to me, Pistol. I appreciate you letting me know, and that explains a couple of things behind the scenes regarding a 580 Preps Coaches Club. But thank you for breaking that news to anyone who may not have been aware that there will not be a game at Hummer Sports Park tomorrow night. moving on, Shawnee Heights takes on Baser Linwood this Friday night. And this is an opportunity for Shawnee Heights, again, against one of the best, if not the best team in the UKC. They're a team that just needs to get out to better starts. They're not having trouble scoring the football, but they're having to play from behind a little bit too often for Jason Swift's taste.
Yeah, they have. And again, they're a team, kind of the opposite of Topeka High. They can play offense with anybody, but they're going to have to prove they can stop a very good Baser Linwood team, which is coming off a good win last week and really rolling.
Most certainly they are. Another team that is rolling is Seaman. They've got back-to-back wins after their 0-2 start. Seaman is at 2-2 as they head into this week's game. And it feels like Jared Swafford's team has really found its footing.
Yeah, I think so. And I think he, even when they lost a couple early, he told me that he thought that, best things were coming. And that is, and, those are two games the last two are games they should have won. And now they just want to keep building off those with a still pretty young team.
I want to correct the record real quick. It is DeSoto that Shawnee Heights plays this week. Baser Linwood takes on Topeka West, so I had that backwards. But the point about playing one of the best teams in the UKC certainly still stands, as DeSoto has proven to be that over the years and will be a tough matchup for Shawnee Heights at home this week. Rick Peterson is our guest, joining us here on the local sports spotlight from TopSports.news, where they cover all things Shawnee County High School sports and the Washburn Ichabods. Speaking of some other sports, let's turn to girls golf, where the Seaman Lady Vikes continue their outstanding season with some more great performances. They really keep picking up steam, and I think it's time to put them on a very short list of 5A state contenders.
And what sport are you talking about?
This is golf, girls golf.
Okay, yeah, because you can say that same thing about tennis. So yeah, they're coming off they're really playing well, and Elise Eckert's a legitimate, 5A title contender. So that's a good place to start. And then McKenna Stuckey's very good. They won the league meet by 52 strokes. They've never lost a league meet since they joined the UKC. And they're a contender.
You mentioned Seaman Tennis. They won the city championship last week out at Crossover. Emma Sweeney brought home the #1 singles championship. She is having a tremendous season so far.
Yeah, and again, a title contender. And they followed up the city meet with a strong performance in the 11-school Topeka West Invitational, and they won that too. And Emma won #1 singles. Molly Gorman won #2 singles, and they're going to play their league meet coming up this next week, and they will win that.
Rick Peterson joining us for the local sports spotlight here on 580 Sports Talk. On the pitch, boys soccer, we know Washburn Rural typically outstanding, and they showed their depth in a win over Cape and Mount Carmel earlier this week on Tuesday. They were without a couple of key players, beat Capen anyway, 2-0. This is a team that is as deep as any that Brian Hensel has rolled out there in recent years, and they're starting to flex their muscle and once again show that they are going to be reckoned with in Class 6A.
Yeah, Coach Hensel was as excited about a win as I remember him being, particularly a regular season win the other night, because Dylan Wellingham's as good as there is in the state. That's their leading goal scorer, and we're without him and Brody Kosher, and still just dominated that game against a very good Capen team that's going to knock off a lot of people.
It's been a good year on the pitch on boys soccer here in the city, not just the typical excellent performances by Washburn Rural, but Shawnee Heights is 8-1, just posted a shutout of Seaman earlier this week, and Topeka West out to a great start as well. Both of those programs holding strong in the United Kansas Conference.
Yeah, West had a breakout year last year, and I'm not surprised at what they've done. And then Heights is always good, but the thing was Heights, after getting beaten pretty soundly in that season opener by Rural, has just really played well. They're developing 2 or 3 good goal scorers to go with Camden Granado. And hey, when you win 8 straight, you're building some momentum for a good stretch playoff run.
And in volleyball, you took in Wednesday night's USD 501 triangular. Topeka High, Topeka West, Highland Park getting together for some matches. It was West who came away at 2-0, and they're getting their record closer to 500. Also, maybe starting to get healthier. Do you think this can be a bit of a springboard for the Chargers on the volleyball court?
Well, I think that's what they're hoping. They lost their setter for a while with a concussion in the competition before that, but they're that's just a fun. I always like to go to that triangular because you get all the 501s together and they all know each other and there's a lot of excitement. And I thought there was a good crowd last night at Topeka High and it's fun. And I think you're right. I mean, I think they just want to keep Alex Nash's group just wants to keep building.
Last thing for you, Rick Peterson of TopSports.news. You do cover Washburn Ichabod Athletics, so I want to ask you a question about Ichabod football. They are off this week. It is their bye week after a 7-point loss to Nebraska Kearney last week. And this feels like a good time for the bye. They've had a very tough early season schedule. They've been very close, couple of one-score losses in their last 2 games. Feels like this is a good opportunity for Zach Watkins' group to hit the reset button, fine-tune some things, and come out of this with a little bit of focus on what they're going to have to do to turn those one-score losses into wins.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I did sit down with Zach Watkins yesterday, and as well as Keller Hurla, and that's the way they're thinking. Let's get a little healthier. Let's get in some good tough work because, like Zach said, this isn't a off week; it's a bye week. But they're gonna be working and get ready. And of course, they come right back with a game against a very, very good Pittsburgh State team. But they feel that they're really close, and I agree, they're really close. They just need that springboard win that'll get them going.
Rick Peterson covers it all, Shawnee County High School sports of the Washburn Ichabods at TopSports.news, and joins us every Thursday at this time on 580 Sports Talk for the local sports spotlight. Pistol, always a pleasure. We'll do it again next week.
Look forward to it.
That is Rick Peterson. We'll step aside for a break, wrap up this hour 580 Sports Talk after this. Wrapping up this hour of 580 Sports Talk, first hour in the books. Our thanks again to Rick Peterson, TopSports.news, for joining us. Still to join us on today's show, Mitch Holthus, voice of the Chiefs. He'll be on at 5:25 this afternoon. Talk to Mitch about the Chiefs' victory over the Ravens and look ahead to Monday Night Football. The Chiefs taking on the Jaguars in Jacksonville coming up this Monday night. There is Thursday Night Football tonight. You'll hear it right here on 580 WIBW, FM 104.9. Week 5 of the NFL season getting underway with the 49ers and the Rams. Mac Jones and the 49ers. Catch the fever. We've got that for you. Pregame coverage at 6:30, meaning we'll have a little bit of 580 Sports Talk overtime before pregame coverage from Westwood One. Coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, in the spirit of the start of Week 5, roughly at the quarter pole in this NFL season, we're going to look at some teams and ask, is it good? That's right. Is it good is back. Plus, what is wrong with you? And we'll hear Patrick Mahomes when he spoke earlier today. That's coming up. 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. Hour number 2, 580 Sports Talk, Thursday edition, October 2nd, 2025. Thanks so much for being with us on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com and in living color on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and our Facebook page, WIBW News. If you are watching on video, you can see before I tell you that the gang's all here. Dan Lucero, Brendan Dworzinski, Spencer Dupuis. Everybody's in the house for this 4 o'clock hour on this Thursday, so we're glad you are hanging out with us. Hit us up on the text line, 785-272-9429. You can also interact with us in the live chat on our YouTube stream. Again, the name of that channel is 580 Sports Talk. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel if you have not already. Slam that subscribe button. Slam it so hard you break your phone screen. You need to buy a new phone. Don't actually do that. But do subscribe to the YouTube chat and jump on in to the live chat and interact with each other as well as your hosts throughout the show today. Still to come on the program, Mitch Holthus, voice of the Chiefs, joins us at 5:25. Later on this hour, we're going to hear from Patrick Mahomes. He spoke to the media earlier today, had some typically interesting things to say. Mahomes popped up on the injury report today. Everybody practiced for the Chiefs. The only player listed as limited was Christian Fulton. But the note that is interesting is that Patrick Mahomes was on there with a groin injury. So not sure where that came from, and perhaps Mahomes addressed that. I don't know when he would have injured that.
How many?
I mean, did he address? I don't think the injury report came out till after he met with the media, so he probably didn't talk about it.
I'm trying to think of how many jokes I can make about him being the Ravens' dad. I'm trying to finagle a way that the FCC won't get mad at me for that.
Very lightly.
Yeah.
No, the Chiefs.
That's enough joke there for you.
The Chiefs have always over-reported, not to like the effect that like the Patriots used to do when like they got dinged one year for not listing a guy on the report, and then he ended up not playing. And I think that the Patriots got fined. So after that, I don't know if he did it for the rest of his time there, but out of spite, Bill Belichick put like 30 guys on the report every week.
I believe Tom Brady was probable every single week until they got rid of probable. Bring it back, by the way.
Yeah. They everybody was on the list with something. So,
but then you get the opposite side of it. Like Mac Jones is starting tonight for the 49ers.
Yes, he is.
Brock Purdy is hurt. But Mac Jones is also hurt. He got hurt the last time he started.
Yeah.
But he's practiced all week. So we don't need to put him on the report. No, you actually do. You're still supposed to list him even if he's full, if he's hurt.
Yeah.
But they haven't listed him even though he's actually hurt.
Well, is he getting treatment though? Because I think what it is if you're getting treatment.
As far as I know. I mean,
at least it appears that that's I believe that's the way Andy Reid has spoke in the last year or so. He said somebody's going to be on the injury report if they're getting treatment.
That's the way it should. Like, I'm glad he is following the rules. Well, I have rules, so no one's going to follow them.
No, that's true. And like I said, like I was saying, the Chiefs have always erred on the side of caution with stuff like this. Go ahead and report it, even if Mahomes ends up on the injury report like 14 out of the 17 weeks of the season. It's never a problem until it's a problem. So anyhow, we'll hear from QB1 of the Chiefs a little bit later on. We got some What Is Wrong With You? We got 580 Sports Talk headlines. We're probably going to be talking at this rate about a Detroit Tigers win over the Cleveland Guardians. They've just played at a pair in the 7th to extend their lead to 4-1 in that winner-take-all game. Another one coming up in a little bit, Cubs and Padres. Brendan, for the record, how are you feeling as the resident Cubs fan of 580 Sports Talk?
Not especially good, but not horrendous by any means. I do love Yu Darvish, who is pitching for the Padres today. And in fact, he never should have been allowed to leave Chicago. They should have paid him, but that's neither here nor there. He stinks against lefties, which maybe that finally gets some of the Cubs lefty bats going. I hope. I don't know that it will work, but we'll see. I was complaining to Dan about this off the air earlier today. No starter gets to go more than 4 innings in the playoffs now anyway. So that doesn't really matter.
That's why.
Can you score a run off a bullpen? That's the whole point.
That's why the first day was so cool, because you had Skubal pitch into the 8th and you had Crochet pitch into the 8th for Boston. It was for a day. It was like bringing the feeling back Yamamoto, I think, went 6 last night, and that felt revelatory that, oh my gosh, a pitcher got to finish the 6th inning and throw more than 100 pitches. Crazy talk.
Yeah, Matthew Boyd got the game 1 start for the Cubs. He allowed 4 hits, 1 earned run, struck out a pair, only walked 1. He was not allowed to finish the 5th inning.
How many pitches did he have?
Doesn't matter. Like, we need to protect pitchers' arms. I get that. Here's the other thing, though. They're adult. What are you saving him for? He's 34 years old. If his arm is going to blow up, it's going to blow up because he's 34. What are you saving him for?
Yeah, I don't know.
This is just one example. Dylan Cease, a 7-year vet, however long he's been in the majors now.
Been around for a bit.
3 2/3 yesterday for the Padres. Cubs couldn't do anything against anyone, but they couldn't do anything against him. 3 2/3. Mike Schilt took him out in the 4th inning, which, A, let your starters actually pitch a starting amount of innings. Secondly, brother, if you win, you've got to pitch another game today, right? And you're throwing your bullpen out there for 5+ innings.
Hey, you got to make sure there is a game today, and that's why they lean so heavily on their all-star relievers to make sure they can get there.
I genuinely believe it is bad for baseball for the exact point you've brought up before. Like, okay, I'm only going to get to go to a couple games this season. I'm off work this week. I'd love to go to a game. Oh, shoot. I'm going to see, like, Pirates Tigers are in town. I live in Detroit. Ooh, Scooble versus Skeens? Hell yeah, amazing. How many games can you actually plan to see a lot of the starter? Scooble, probably Skeens. Like, oh, I'm a Dodgers fan. Good thing my favorite pitcher is Blake Snell, and I'll get to watch him for 48 minutes, and he'll get pulled. Like, come on. It was amazing. He went 6+ the other night.
Yeah.
Out of the 5th? They never let him pitch more than 5 or 5 1/3. It just, that is not good for the game. And I get why they do it, and I get especially why you do it in the postseason. I also think that is handled poorly, even though I get the logic. I think managers overmanage a lot in the playoffs. They're the stars. They should be the centerpieces, and they're just not in modern playoff baseball, and that really bothers me.
So, Cubs Padres later today.
So, yeah, get excited for like 2 1/3 of Jameson Taillon for the Cubs. Which, I mean, maybe you don't want him pitching any more than that anyway, but like that's my point. Like, oh boy, I'm so excited to watch more middle relievers.
Yeah, the starting pitcher mano a mano is definitely an element that I do miss from the modern game. Anyhow,
Tigers just scored 2 more, by the way.
Yeah, they did. It's Bloom is off the Cleveland Rose. I couldn't decide who I wanted to win.
My
that
guy got
series.
his first big league hit today.
Hey, there you go. It is so funny that they put together this insane comeback in the second half. Like, wow, all-time historic comeback to take the division, and 3 games you're done to the team you just usurped.
Yeah,
like, that is very funny.
Well, if they don't win the World Series, and I don't think Detroit is going to win the World Series, they will always be able to say, "Hey, you might have gotten us in a 3-game series, but over at 162, we were better. We get to put up the Central Division champions banner, which doesn't mean what it used to, but it still means a little something to win the division flag." So,
I don't know. Scooble World Series MVP would be pretty sick.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he is trying to bring real hoops back.
Tarek Scooble, Madison Bumgarner run.
It could be. Like, it's going to have to be, honestly, for Detroit. Like, that's their way through. Anyhow, let's get to the thing we wanted to do in this segment. We are going to bring it on back. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the return of America's favorite and most lazily named game. Is it good? That's right. Is it good? Where we examine things in the world of sports and ask the very simple question, is it good? And today,
this game, yes, it is.
Yes, is it good? Good? You bet your ass. We are at the quarter pole, roughly. It's really 23% of the NFL season is complete. Starting week 5 tonight. I thought we'd take a look at some of the teams that are a little bit unexpectedly off to good starts and ask whether or not those teams are good. And I wanted to start with this coming week's Chiefs opponent, the Jacksonville Jaguars. I have staked out my case on this in case people have not been able to read between the lines. I do not think the Jaguars are good, but I want to hear what you guys think. So, Brendan, the Jacksonville Jaguars, is it good?
Yes, but so that's the over the top, like overall score. Like when you get your ACT back, wow, I got a 19, cool, best in my family history. Okay, that's your overall score. But then you break it down, like, wow, I got a 36 in reading and a 0 in math. Incredible stuff. If you were to break down my grade of this, running game, yes, not surprising. Liam Cohen, great at that. Like ETN was on his way to the UFL after the last couple of years, and they have completely unlocked him. I think that defense has really turned a corner. Anthony Campanile, former Green Bay Packers linebacker coach, like they have figured something out defensively this year, especially against the pass. They've been really good. Trevor Lawrence is not. Like, for all the good they have brought in, and I think, the tape guys are telling you Travis Hunter's been really good. He's not producing. I thought that Trevor Lawrence was going to have like an MVP potential caliber season when Liam Cohen brought in his easy button filled offense with a better run game. Like Trevor's probably
two
got
potentially
more
great receivers.
Yeah, and he's got more physical gifts as a quarterback, I think, than Baker Mayfield does. Baker took off right away with this offense last year, and Trevor Lawrence is the same guy he has always been. And at this point, that's not all that good. So the quarterback I'm selling. The rest of the team, though, I do think is good. Are they great? No. Would I call them a Super Bowl contender right now? No, probably not. But I do think on the binary, they are good.
Spencer, the Jaguars, is it good?
I break them up into two categories. Offense, is it good? No. Defense, is it good? Yes. That will win you a good amount of games, not a great amount of games if your offense can't keep up.
Like, dude, they're second in the league in EPA per play as a defense. Like,
they forced 13 turnovers in 4 weeks.
That's also true.
That jumps out.
I'd rather force turnovers than not, though.
I don't think they're going to be able to force 3 turnovers a week. And I think that train stops with the Chiefs team that has only turned the ball over once in 4 weeks. And I think this is like the point I made yesterday. They don't have any game records on defense. Like Josh Hines-Allen is their best player on defense, and he is at most good. He is not a guy that keeps you up at night, game planning for how are we going to keep Josh Hines-Allen out of the backfield. Their other good pass rusher may not even play. And if he does, he's going to be playing with a surgically repaired wrist on a...
That must have been like the least invasive surgery ever.
I know. Outrageous. They start Eric Murray on purpose. I do not think
it's tough.
that this is actually a good defense. Like they're thriving on creating havoc and creating turnovers, which is a thing that you can do, but when you run into good
4 players. Well, I like Devin Lloyd a lot, but that's really kind of in the weeds here. Tyson Campbell is really good. No one ever talks about him because he's a Jaguars corner. I do think he's very good. Jordan Lewis is having a really good year, too. I always liked him coming out of Michigan. Eric Armstead's still a good player. Josh Hines-Allen is a good player. But I do think your overall point is right. Like, all of those guys on their own, like, yeah, good. You want those guys on your team. Like, they are plus players. But you're right. I mean, there's no Chris Jones. No, Armstead's good. But no one who's like, oh, you put it very, I think, spot on. There's no one who you build an entire game plan around. There's good players, but no one who's a changer.
And the Chiefs' first 4 opponents all had that.
Yeah,
so
that's the point.
That is a difference. How about
they do have my guy Emmanuel Ogbah though? The Chiefs never should have let him.
Chief,
walk.
Great Super Bowl champion Emmanuel Ogbah.
That's true.
The Chargers are also 3-1. I'll start here. I do think the Chargers are good because I think Jim Harbaugh is a good coach. I think it starts there. I think that Harbaugh is one of those coaches that raises your floor so substantially that even a team that has run into the issues they've run into with injuries, and those are going to be long-term concerns. Like, certainly while Joe Alt is out, I don't know how they're going to protect Justin Herbert starting this Sunday against the Commanders. And for however long that Alt is out, because they're already missing Rashawn Slater. That's a problem. That's probably going to cost them a game or two in a stretch while Alt is out that they probably should have won otherwise, and it's going to let the Chiefs right back into that AFC West race. But I think they are good broadly because I think Harbaugh gets the best out of guys. Omarion Hampton's averaging 5 yards a carry as a rookie. Quentin Johnson looks like a viable NFL player now.
Like, really good.
Yeah, go figure that. I like Jesse Minter as a defensive coordinator. They're going to create havoc on defense, and I think they have dudes like Derwin James, like when he gets back, Khalil Mack. I think Tuli Tupelotu is becoming a dude. I think that is a good team. And I think I would be comfortable right now saying that's the third best team in the AFC.
I think that's totally fair. I also am going to say they are good. Two things I wanted to say, though, both about this offense for the Chargers. One, the point about Quentin Johnston. I heard this stat the other day. It's incredible. Matt Harmon is the guy's name. He runs a website called Reception Perception. It's mostly for fantasy purposes, but he does wide receiver charting. Like, that's all the website does. It gives you tons of details about wide receivers. And right now, Quentin Johnston, after being in the bottom 5 in success rate across pretty much all routes the last 2 years, first 2 of his career, is now almost number 1 in the NFL in success rate on multiple different routes. He said in his charting since 2014, there is one player who has made a leap like that over his first 3 years.
Wow.
One. Devontae Adams, literally a fringe Hall of Famer. That's the only player who has jumped like that in year 1. So his point was, look, like, this is real, but you've got 13 games left. Like, let's not completely. I think he's much better than he thought originally, but like, he might not be like a legit number 1 right now. The other thing I wanted to say, there's a stat called or a topic, a concept of neutral pass rate, which is on neutral down. So like 1st and 10 is a neutral down. 3rd and long, that's a passing down. 2nd and short, that's a running down. But on downs where it's about an even split, are you going to run or are you going to pass? No team in the NFL passes more than the Chargers. So Rich Eisen losing his mind that they threw the ball a lot week 1 in Brazil. Another pass. I can't believe it. They're passing. Wow. No, they pass on neutral downs more than any other team in the NFL. That scares me if they don't have Joe Alt. They're already down their other elite tackle, Rashawn Slater, for the year. Alt is already, I would say, almost on that elite tier. Do you know Austin Deculus? I've never heard of this man before. He might start at left tackle this week.
That's not great.
I don't even know who that is.
I hope he does for my Commander's sake.
Yeah, like that's what worries me. I think they're good. They are also cursed, and their offensive coordinator is also Greg Roman. So there might be a cap on this. But right now, no doubt, they are good.
Let's move to the Indianapolis Colts. Maybe the most surprising 3-1 team of this entire list. Spencer, the Indianapolis Colts. Is it good?
I don't know. I'm about 50,
you're not allowed to say I don't know. Is it good?
I'm about 50-50 with this. I'm going to say no. I think Daniel Jones comes back to life as we know it.
I'm going to lean yes. I think Daniel Jones is not nearly as, not really as good as he has played so far. I think Shane Steichen might be like a genius, and I should never have gotten off of this take. I let the Anthony Richardson is the worst player in the NFL take merge too much with Shane Steichen is a genius take, and I let Anthony Richardson overtake it. I think he might just be brilliant. Like, they are running the perfect offense. Jonathan Taylor is the best running back in the NFL through 4 weeks so far this season.
Yeah,
our guy Matt Verderam did his quarter poll all-pro team today at SI.com. Jonathan Taylor, first teamer. He's been great. Their offensive line's good. Wow, shocking. They fired Gus Bradley, and their defense got better when they hired Lou Anarumo. I can't believe that.
Right?
I don't think they are, again, I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender, but I do think they're good. I think that they have a much better team around Daniel Jones that I think can hide a lot of his deficiencies.
Yeah, given the structure, given the coach and the offense, I think they can get the best possible version of Daniel Jones. That's probably not an MVP candidate over the course of the 7th season, but I think they'll get the best like that. You mentioned Jonathan Taylor's a stud. I do like what they're doing on defense. If A.D. Mitchell had a brain, they'd be 4-0.
That was the knock on him coming out of college, man. Like, pay attention. But I will say, I will never speak ill of him because he has type 1 diabetes. He's part of the brotherhood.
Oh, there you go. Well, if he had a brain, they'd have beaten the Rams, and they'd be 4-0, and we would not be asking if they were good. We would kind of take it for granted. So,
I mean, I'm pretty dumb, too. Maybe that's a symptom.
The Pittsburgh Steelers are 3-1. Brendan, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're on their bye week this week. Is it good?
I don't really think so. Like, they're going to win that division. That went from maybe best to maybe worst division in football. With all the injuries and Burrow being out and Jackson out too. Like, they're the same team they always are. Now they'll just lose a home game instead of a road game in the playoffs. I'm glad that Rodgers is going to go out looking not embarrassing like he did last year, because I'll always have fond memories. But no, I really don't think they're all that good. They're the retirement home team of the year. Their whole team is so old.
I mean, they're gonna get to where they usually get 8, 9, 10 wins max.
I think they'll win 10. They'll win that division, third or fourth seed, and lose to a better wild card. Lose to the Chargers.
Yeah, probably lose to the Chargers.
The Chargers winning a road playoff game as a favorite is like Twilight Zone stuff.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's got to be the end of Tomlin if that happens. But no, I don't think they're good either. I think that they're, like you mentioned, I'm concerned about their age. I think they're going to wear down as the season goes on.
I think they're more right place, right time than anything.
They are currently, as a team, averaging 3.3 yards per carry.
Uh-oh.
That is disgusting.
Uh-oh.
And I like Jaylen Warren, but that is gross. So they got some problems ahead, but they are 3-1. Let's do an NFC team. We don't have any NFC teams on the list, but this one, and I will defer to you guys as I am incapable of viewing this team without bias. So, Spencer, the Seattle Seahawks, is it good?
No. I think there's too many better teams in the NFC West.
Respectfully, horrific take. They're not only good, they are very good. And I think your Dan, again, all due respect, I think your preconceived notions of Sam Darnold are immaterial to this year's Seahawks team. He friggin' slings it. And if your QB can be described as friggin' slinging it, I'm all for it. I think they have the offensive line worrisome, but Gray Zabel has been the best guard in the NFL. He is friggin' awesome. You draft country boys. Put country boys on your interior offensive line. Immediate profit. They've got a legit elite number one receiver, and they have the best defense in the NFL. I think the Seahawks are very good. And right now, I would not be surprised if two teams in that division win upwards of 12 games.
So if you're buying the Seahawks, you're buying the defense, I think, primarily. This is year 2 under Mike Macdonald. That is typically when Mike Macdonald defenses hit the gas.
They've got a stud running back on offense. Now, he's got to stay healthy, but they got a stud run. And their number 2 is fine, too, in Charbonnet.
Charbonnet stinks.
Yeah, he does.
2.5 yards per carry, 39 rush. He stinks.
He
stinks. He's got no juice. I don't know why.
I still think that.
I don't know why they give him the ball so much. He'll have one run. Well, he'll run through 3 guys and gain 10 yards. Everybody gets really excited, and then his next 5 carries go for -1 yard. I don't think he's good. I actually don't even think Walker's great. I think he's fine. He's
boom bust.
I'm not.
He's definitely not a top 10 running back in the league.
They are better on the offensive line than they have been, which is certainly encouraging. And I think it comes down to, do you think this start for Sam Darnold is real? And maybe it is in a regular season context. Maybe he's going to keep doing this against lesser competition throughout the regular season. And by this, I just mean drop back and find JSN down there somewhere, which there are worse ways to build a passing game, certainly. But I got to see it against, the game I'm really interested in is when they play the Texans on Monday Night Football in 3 weeks, because that's an elite pass rush unit. That's a defense that knows how to get after a quarterback.
That's a fun matchup.
How does Darnold look against them? How does the Seahawks offensive line hold up against them? But they have on paper 3 winnable games into their mind. They got the Bucs at home, they go to Jacksonville, and they got Houston at home Monday Night Football. Those are winnable games going into the bye. If they're sitting here at 6-1 going into the bye, they can start thinking, NFC West champs.
I think all 3 of those are really interesting. Todd Bowles going to blitz, and he's going to bring all sorts of blitz. No one other than Steve Spagnuolo throws the crazy blitzes at you like Bowles does, even though I've got some real beef with him. Jaguars defense is better. You play that one in Duval. Ooh, that's a noon kickoff on a Sunday, too. That's going to be tough.
Pretty gross.
And then Monday night against the Texans, you get it at home. They have an elite pass rush. I think these next 3 weeks will tell us all we need to know about Seattle.
Yeah, I
think they're good, man. I think they're really good. And I think that defense is the best in the NFL.
If they are really good, you won't get me to shut up about it. But I
just want you to be happy. I want you to feel good.
I appreciate that. I didn't get any of that during the baseball season. So
right.
I appreciate you looking out for me. The Nuggets tip off soon. The Avs drop the puck in a week. There will be joy in my life. I can promise you.
I can't believe hockey starts that soon. It's unbelievable.
I know. I'm so hyped.
Me and Ben McDonald.
So that will do it for the NFL quarter pole edition.
Oh, we can't bag on CJ Stroud?
Oh, would you like to do one more?
I would like to bag on
Let's
CJ
do
Stroud.
one more. Houston, we thought might be better than this, but they have started 1-3. I guess this is it still good? The Houston Texans?
No. Do not ever again disrespect Jordan Love by saying he is worse than CJ Stroud. Never again. If you say that, I am just going to assume you do not know anything about the National Football League. Do not ever speak those words to me again. They suck. They stink. And they have a terribly built offense. They somehow went from the worst offensive line last year, added Ed Ingram, and got worse. How does that happen? They suck. They are brutal.
Yeah.
Yuck.
I feel bad for Stroud. The offensive line doesn't help. He's got no weapons.
They won't even use. They drafted 2 receivers on day 2 and won't even use that.
People are trying to talk me into Woody Marks as a rookie sensation. That young man turns 25 in December.
We're like duty marks.
So you know his real name is Joe Quavius. That's much cooler than Woody.
I'd rather go by Joe Quavius.
I would, absolutely rather go by Joe Quavius. Anyhow, they're. I don't
really want to know where Woody comes from.
I don't think they're real good either. That is it good at the NFL quarter poll? We'll take a timeout. We'll come back with What Is Wrong With You on 580 Sports Talk. So what is wrong with you time on 580 Sports Talk? 2 news stories today taking on our current champion for this first week of October. You can't outrun the drug horse. The gentleman on the Mounted Patrol Unit in Lubbock, Texas, gentleman, by the way, with the very apropos last name of Trotter, who made a joke when they had stopped somebody who was acting suspicious, and joked that they had a narcotic-smelling horse, And that spooked the guy, and he ran away from a horse. That didn't last long. And the gentleman was arrested, charged with evading arrest and tampering with physical evidence with the intent to impair. We're going to go with your story today first, Brendan. And this is really funny because I literally made a joke about this exact scenario on yesterday's program.
Well, perfect. We're going down to Lee County, Florida. This is a classic What Is Wrong With You tale. Guy going, way over the speed limit. A reported late-night street race at the Midpoint Bridge in Lee County, Florida ended with one driver in jail and his car impounded, with troopers still searching for a motorcyclist accused of reaching speeds of 140 miles an hour. The Highway Patrol at 3 a.m. Sunday spotted a Toyota Camry and motorcycle side by side at a traffic light in Fort Myers. Troopers say the pair suddenly started to accelerate before the Midpoint Bridge and were accused of racing across the span at extreme speeds. The Camry got to 124 miles an hour. The motorcycle hit more than 140. The Camry was stopped near Country Club Boulevard in Cape Coral. Inside were 24-year-old David Stone and an unnamed female passenger. When asked why he was driving so fast, Stone told troopers he, quote, had to use the bathroom.
Look, I think that's a reasonable explanation for going too fast, but 124 miles an hour and blowing past the gas stations, I don't know, man.
Listen, I felt that way before. There were times like, bro, I got to get there right now.
And this has to be a home game. Like, some people can't perform on the road. I understand how that goes.
Unfortunately, the cops called his bluff. They mentioned that he had passed multiple gas stations during the drive. Not great. The officer Greg Bueno of the Highway Patrol said, quote, the Camry driver did not have a license. That's red flag 1. Number 2, this is all happening at 3 a.m. Horrible decisions all over the place.
Yeah.
He is facing charges, by the way, of driving without a license, excessive speed, and racing. His car will also be impounded.
124 miles an hour in a Toyota Camry is crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know they could do that.
Top speed?
I thought you could get to like 85.
For my story today, we're going to Vegas. We meet 62-year-old William Scott Jr., who is a top Nevada law enforcement official. He was pulled over, and an officer cited him for holding his phone while driving a state vehicle. I thought you could use your speakerphone, Scott told the officer in body camera video. The officer replied, okay, well, you can't have it in your hand, though. Scott then told him, I'm retired police captain with the Metro, and I am the chief of investigations right now with the AG's office. The officer replied, okay, then you know the law. Which is a great
fry him.
Great comeback. The officer returned to his motorcycle to write him a ticket. Scott got out of the car. The officer told him to sit in the car and said, every second I spend with you tells me there's no way you're a retired cop. Zing. After a few minutes, the officer returned to the driver's side window and handed Scott his ticket. Scott then showed him his badge and said, there you go, right there, buddy. The officer said, okay, yeah, should have just led with that. Scott then responded by saying, bye, I have enough money to pay for mine, and then referred to the officer by the homophobic F slur. The officer responded to that by saying, I'm so glad that you're retired and not with the department anymore. Here is the punchline.
Cook him, man.
William Scott, top law enforcement official in Nevada, on police confrontations.
Awesome.
That's why this story is called Do As I Say, Not As I Do.
Awesome stuff.
Preventing police on police confrontations. Taught by the guy who just called as one of his fellow cops the F slur.
Good
Over
Lord,
getting
dude.
a ticket for violating a law that he knows exists. Because, again, he's a cop. So who wins today?
That one.
Yeah.
That one gets the win.
I think that might win for the week.
Knocks it off.
I do. I think that's going to
I think so too.
Advance past the drug horse story. Cubs have taken an early lead. If you're watching on the YouTube stream, you just saw Brendan respond to an RBI single by Pete Crow Armstrong.
Dog, Pete Crow Armstrong and Kyle Tucker have been like bottom 5 players in all of baseball in the last month. Yu Darvish is just throwing them cement mixers.
You hate to see it, but more than that, you love to see it.
Yeah.
You really do. As a Padre hater, an avowed Padre hater, I'm going to enjoy this as much as you.
Man, this was just a single and everyone moved up 90 feet. They're going to play Little League baseball this inning, apparently.
Hey, you know what?
No advancing.
That might be good enough to win a playoff game. You never know. That is going to do it for What Is Wrong With You. When we come back, we'll hear from Patrick Mahomes on 580 Sports Talk. 444 on 580 Sports Talk. Patrick Mahomes usually speaks with the media on Wednesday. That's because the Chiefs usually play on Sunday. But when they play Monday, he talks to the media Thursday. That's today. This is a rough intro. Let's just hear from Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick, facing a defense with 13 turnovers, most in the league, and you guys been able to control the ball as well. But when you look at film with Jacksonville, their defense, what stands out and impresses you the most about how they've been able to get those turnovers?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're first off, they're very fundamentally sound. And when you have a fundamentally sound defense that's that talented, with the amount of players that they have at every single level of the defense, it's a hard defense to go against, and they do a great job attacking the football. They're causing the turnovers. It's not like the turnovers are just happening. They're punching the football out, they're tipping passes, they're intercepting the football when they get their hands on it. And so it'll be a great challenge for us. We have to make sure that we're really fundamentally sound as well, and we can't give them any opportunity because they're capitalizing on them.
Isolating Hines Allen, I guess, what type of challenge does he in particular?
Yeah, I mean, he's just like the perfect build for a defensive end. I mean, just fast. He's tall. He just has a great variety of pass rush moves, and then he can drop in coverage if necessary as well. And so he's done a great job in this league for a couple of years now. And so I think he's kind of in that perfect moment where he's kind of a veteran and kind of knows the veteran stuff, but still has the athletic ability to make stuff happen as well. And so a great football player that we'll have to account for on every play.
Patrick, when you went back and watched this game, was it kind of how you'd seen it immediately afterwards, or what stood out to you?
Yeah, I think the execution, was the biggest thing. I mean, obviously the guys made plays and we were able to score a lot of points, but I'm always big on the executing on the plays that are called and everybody being on the same page. And I think that was something that we did at a very high level this last game, and something that hopefully we can continue to do as the season goes on.
There were a couple plays where it seemed like there was enough time to where maybe you could have looked to run, but you still stayed in there for an extra long time. Was that something that stood out to you?
Yeah, I think it just continues to build trust with the offensive line, and they're doing a great job of pass protecting. And so for me, just being able to trust it, sit in that pocket, maybe that extra tenth of a second, and then give guys chances down the field, something I continue to even get better at now. But I think I did a better job of that this last week for sure.
Patrick, tight window throws, you've been trying to give guys chances. You said, going back to the one for Juju last week, what goes into a play like that to make for it a real thing?
Yeah, I think it was we schemed it up very well, where we knew kind of the coverages that the defense was playing down there, and we knew that it was going to be a tight window, but the way they played their coverage, there was a spot on the thing, and Juju ran the route perfectly, and so I was ready to throw on time, and we had an option to go after that, obviously, but the window was big enough for me to throw the ball, and then a physical catch by Juju there in the end zone and making the play happen.
And real quick, you guys have had more tight window throws, more deep throws, but not as many turnovers. I guess what do you attribute that to?
Yeah, that speaks to the guys that are making the plays. I'm giving guys chances down the field, and they're making plays happen. It's either them or nobody else, and so that's something that we preached all off season, and it's good to see that success happening, and let's continue it as the season goes on.
Indy was asked about the Liam Cohen, Robert Saleh science stealing thing. Kind of laughed it off, I guess. Do you have to be any more cognizant of something like that this week?
I honestly don't really understand. I mean, we switch signals like every single week, so I guess maybe and I have no idea, honestly. So it's something that I don't necessarily understand, but we'll make sure to switch our signals, I guess.
Spend all that every week to learn new things. Is that a big part of the week?
I mean, for us, we just we scout the defense, and we try to learn what we can from them, and as far as our coverages and stuff like that. And then for us, we like I said, we switch signals every single week, knowing that the game is on TV and teams watch that, and so we try to make sure that we're interchanging that stuff so they can't get a beat on what we're trying to do.
You love watching film, in particular, just guys across the league. Did you this week spend a little more extra time just watching what Travis Hunter has at least attempted to do these first 4 weeks playing offense and defense?
I haven't watched a ton. I mean, obviously I've watched his defensive snaps now, but I know he was a super talented player in college, and it was fun to watch him at Colorado make plays happen. And coming out in the draft process, I always watch those receivers, and so he's special when he gets the football in his hand and being able to make guys break tackles and make guys miss. And then seeing him play defense now, I mean, he's done a great job of obviously with his defense, done a great job in this scheme of playing man and zone and being around the football as well. And so a special football player, and someone that we'll have to account for when he's out there on the field.
When you guys went back and looked at Rashard Smith getting a little more each week, what did you think this week with the role he had and how he did?
Yeah, I think he's done a great job. It's just like any other rookie in this offense. You kind of give him more and more each and every week, and he's done a good job of taking it in and going out there and executing at a high level. And so we'll continue to do that. It helps. He played receiver a lot, so he can run routes, and he also played running back, so he can run between the tackles. And those are special football players to have because it keeps the defenses guessing, and that's what you want to do. You want them on their heels and then be able to attack them in a variety of different ways.
Patrick, the way you guys were for almost 8 drives there, putting yourself in a position to score, how do you guys kind of keep that edge about you carried into this week?
Yeah, I think there's still a lot to learn from. I mean, early in the first half there were some of those drives that stalled out, kind of like we had been doing earlier in the season. So trying to find ways to execute, especially earlier in football games, to build leads. I mean, like I've always said, when you build a lead with Spags calling the defense, it really unleashes him to really go out there. And so we'll continue to work at the little things fundamentally and try to all be on the same page so that we can execute it at a higher level early and then keep that momentum through the rest of the game.
I know you're focused on what you're doing and everything, but I'm just curious, the fans are keeping an eye on the Chargers as that game's happening and everything. And I know it's early in the season, but do you, if you're looking at your phone, listening to your music, you see the updates, are you aware of what's going on in the division and around the league before you play, when you play those later windows?
Yeah, but like you said, it's early in the season, so we know we still have a lot coming our way. But I mean, I'm obviously rooting against them. So if I see like the Giants are winning, I'm happier than if they weren't winning. So it's I'm not necessarily like keeping up to date like all the time, but if it's on the TV or if I'm at Arrowhead and they show a highlight, I'll definitely look and see who's winning the game.
Patrick, it looked like you were watching the game the other night with Tyreek from the Prayers Up tweet. Have you talked to Tyreek and what kind of your thoughts when you saw him?
Yeah, I mean, I talked to him a little bit, but I think more than anything, and just sending prayers his way because, I mean, you never want to see that happen in football, and it's part of the game, but it's a terrible part of the game, and I know how he works, and so I'm excited to watch his comeback now. I know he'll get to work and be back at it, but obviously praying for him and his family because, I mean, you never want to see that on the football field.
Perfect. Patrick, I know you don't really pay too much attention to your individual accomplishments, but 252 regular season touchdowns, not the youngest player. What does it mean to pass a guy like Aaron Rodgers? And you guys are kind of like friends. Have you heard from him?
No, I've not heard from him. I mean, I think he's like he was just in Dublin or something like that. So I don't know if he wants to reach out from there. But no, I mean, to pass him, and as far as right now, I mean, it's really cool. But I got a long ways to go, and the amount of touchdowns he's thrown, and that was someone I watched growing up. And so I'll continue to just get better and better and try to score as many points as possible, and more than anything, win as many football games as possible. And I think at the end of my career, I'll be happy with where I'm at.
Steve? Patrick, Xavier brought it seemed to bring that spark to the offense this past week. You obviously know what you can do. Did you exceed your expectations at all from coming off of that?
I mean, obviously, just you never know coming off injury, but that's what I expected from the beginning of the season. I think the best way to put it is he's a guy that can win one-on-one against really everybody in the league. And so when you have that much explosiveness and you can run routes like he does, it brings a lot of attention to him. And so you saw that they were having to make decisions if they were going to play man coverage or if they were going to play zone coverage, and then it helped get other guys open as well. And so as well as just bringing energy. I mean, he has a lot of energy on the football field. He's got celebration seems like every single week, and so I think that's contagious, and it brought energy to the entire sideline and the entire team, and it was a great thing to get him out there.
That was Patrick Mahomes earlier today speaking after Chiefs practice. We'll take one final break here this hour on 580 Sports Talk. Come back and wrap up the 4 o'clock hour, set up the 5 o'clock hour on the show. little either or over under to wrap up this 4 o'clock hour, shall we? Either or, regular mustard or a fancy mustard with a deli sandwich.
With a deli sandwich.
So, like, you get a turkey sandwich or a club sandwich, and you get mustard. Do you go with the just regular OG French's yellow mustard, or do you like something a little fancier, maybe a Dijon mustard or a spicy brown? What do you prefer?
That's a hard one for me because if I'm making it myself, I'll have yellow mustard. But if I'm at Subway, Jersey Mike's, I'll do the honey mustard.
The honey mustard, okay.
Yeah, I'm a honey mustard guy.
Okay, see, I've never been a big fan of honey mustard on deli sandwiches. I'll go with sometimes I like to have like a spicy brown mustard in the house and use that, or use a Dijon mustard. Right now, I don't have any of that in the house. So I made a turkey sandwich for myself for lunch today. We don't have any fancy mustards in the house right now, but that's fine because I'll go with a yellow mustard and some mayo and a slice of cheese and some turkey, and I'm good with that. Like if we got tomato, great. I'll put some on. If we don't, I'm not going to go cut a tomato. I'm not going to go buy a tomato and then come back and finish my sandwich. I don't need to Dagwood it, make it like a 2-foot high sandwich. Every now and again, I like to do that. Don't get me wrong. But if I'm just making a quick one at home, yeah, I go with the yellow mustard. So what do you got today?
So we're about to hit hockey season. We were talking about this on the show earlier. Ben McDonald not a fan of the hockey season. The color analyst on the Cubs broadcast.
That's right.
ESPN playoffs.
That was the whole thing.
But the NHL will go back to the Olympics this year. They'll have the Olympic break. Either or, if you had to choose one that they would participate in, either Four Nations like they had last year, this past season, that was a hit, or play in the Olympics. Which one?
I think I like the Olympics better. You can see more countries, you can see more players. I know it takes a chunk out of a bigger chunk out of the regular season, but I like the Olympic competition.
All right, Four Nations or a regular All-Star game?
Four Nations for sure.
Okay.
And the All-Star game format, I like teams doing a little bit more with that. So yeah, they can.
I'm with you.
They can run the Four Nations every year instead of an All-Star game, and I'd be good with that for sure. Coming up in the 5 o'clock hour, 580 Sports Talk, we'll lead off with our headlines as we always do, but then we got Mitch Holthus, the voice of the Chiefs, joining us as he does every Thursday during the Chiefs season. We'll get Mitch's perspective from the broadcast booth on the 2-2 Chiefs heading to Jacksonville. Plus, we'll talk a little baseball. The Royals aren't going to make a change in center field, but should they? That's all next on 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. Third and final hour of 580 Sports Talk on this Thursday afternoon. Thank you so much for being with us here on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and in living color on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and our Facebook page, WIBW News. Dan Lucero, Spencer Dupuis here with you for one more hour, and then we've got some overtime. We'll play you some more audio from media availability from the Chiefs today on our 580 Sports Talk overtime before we bring you the first game of Week 5 of the NFL season. Westwood One coverage of Thursday Night Football, the Rams and the 49ers. Spencer, you going to watch any of that one tonight? Or
Yeah, why
listen
not?
to it?
I'll be listening to the pregame on the way home tonight after overtime.
There you go.
And then I'll catch a little bit of it.
I might put it on. I don't know. My wife got me watching this short run miniseries on Netflix called Sirens. It is very funny.
I think I've heard of it.
And she started watching it, and I kind of half watched the first 2 episodes, and I was all in by the end of episode 2. There are 5 episodes. That's 5 like 45-minute episodes. That's a perfect length of a show for somebody who's got a kid.
Yeah.
/ kids. Because 5 episodes is not that much of a commitment, right? Like, it's not like watching a full 22 episode season of network television, which I don't know how we're going to do that. I don't know how we managed it, man. We left a lot of meat on the bone for a lot of our favorite network television shows. But
hey, Chicago's back last night.
Oh yeah, they're back now, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm not going to
yesterday.
spoil anything, but the new character in Chicago PD, dang, she is going to be a BA.
Okay.
And I think she could. I feel like the show is starting to get stale, right? Like there's just not like they had two strong female characters for a while.
Yeah.
And then the couple with Ruzek and
yeah.
But this chick could keep this show going. I'm excited to see the show keep going after watching last night.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I do wonder how they keep those shows fresh over time. Like SVU, man.
Yeah.
Listen.
Well, then
I stand Captain Olivia Benson, but I don't know how they've been doing it for 25 years.
Well, then it's Stabler dipped, and then they're like, let's make him his own show.
Yeah.
And then that got put on to Peacock, I think, shortly after, because it didn't do very well.
We stopped watching it. My wife liked it, but we stopped watching that when it moved over to Peacock. It was too much for us to keep track of.
Yeah.
But no, priority 1 tonight is the finale of Sirens, where we got one more episode to watch. It's great cast. Julianne Moore and Kevin Bacon are in this thing. Dennis from It's Always Sunny. I know he's got a real name. He's Dennis. I can't look at him and not see Dennis. The two
Glenn Howerton.
That's it. Yeah, Glenn Howerton. Yeah. And then the two female leads. I've never seen them in anything, but they're both really good.
Megan Fahey and
Megan Fahey and Millie Alcock. Yeah,
Millie
never heard of them before. I googled the show last night. But anyway, I'm in. We stayed up way too late watching the 3rd and 4th episodes last night, so we're gonna watch the 5th one tonight. That is priority number 1. If there's any meat left on the Thursday Night Football bone, I'll get there at that point. But I'm not hey babe, can we go to the basement so I can have a second TV on? I can keep an eye on Mac Jones. It's not that kind of situation for
We're
me
not
tonight.
fully into the network shows yet, so I'm not in the let me double screen it here and just catch what's going on. I will say I spent the last month and a half of summer rewatching. I don't know if you ever watched the show Burn Notice on USA.
No,
it's on Hulu, and I forgot how I started. I never fully watched the series. I started in 2010, there were 3 seasons in, and I am just so happy it's getting ready to get over with. I have 5 episodes left. It's just I stay up. Olivia goes to bed at 10:15, and I'm the next hour and plus I'm watching a show and a half.
Okay.
And I've been blasting through it. I'm this is getting exhausting at this point.
My wife goes to bed early. That's when I hit CFE 26.
Yeah, I would if I had a PS5.
I understand. Yeah, I'm midway through year 4, my dynasty. Got Tulsa in the top 15. I got to win some. I haven't won a conference title yet. I win a conference title, I'm booking. I'm gonna go take a different job. But I got to put some in the trophy case for the good folks at the University of Tulsa. Anyhow, let's get to some headlines. We got that. We got Mitch Holthus coming up here in about 15 minutes. Mitch is going to join us, our voice of the Kansas City Chiefs, thanks to Hy-Vee and Azure Credit Union. We'll talk a little baseball, too, this hour as well. Something that J.J. Piccolo said that struck me as immediately funny and then became very funny when I went and looked at Baseball Reference. I want to talk about the center field situation, which I don't actually think the Royals consider to be a situation, and maybe they're right. But would it be something they might consider changing around out there in center field? So we'll get into that. But
no more Kyle Isbel?
That's what I'm suggesting. That maybe, if you can find somebody who can give you more than a win above replacement in center field, consider it. Just think it over. Consider it. Anyway, more on that a little bit later on this hour. But let's start with availability/participation reports. Which one do you want, Spencer? You want the NFL or you want Big 12?
I'll take the NFL.
Okay, then I'll start with the Big 12 because we got initial participation reports or availability reports. I'll get the verbiage right eventually. For this coming Saturday's Big 12 games, some not great news for Kansas on their initial report, which came out late last night. Daniel Highshaw, Deshaun Hanukkah, Mason Ellis, 3 starters all out for Saturday's game at UCF. Highshaw will miss his second consecutive game. Hanukkah got hurt against Cincinnati on Saturday. Isn't going to make it to this Saturday. Mason Ellis, Adam Mulvane, the safety, who has been starting for KU at his safety spot, will also not play. Also, kicker Laith Marjan is questionable, and the Jayhawks only have a true freshman backing him up. So that is one to keep an eye on. Cornerback Saeed Gibbs, who's played quite a bit this year, was listed as probable for the Jayhawks. Sounds like UCF is going to have their starting quarterback, Taven Jackson, available. He did not appear on the initial availability report this week. His backup, Ja'Cory Brown, one of a handful of players listed as questionable. As far as K-State goes, Jace Brown, probable for Saturday against the Baylor Bears. Of course, this is where it is important to note that he never showed up on any of the availability reports last week and then could only manage a snap or two before coming out. I think it was 5 plays that he ended up playing. But certainly, if he is probable at this stage of the week, that is a good sign that the number 1 receiver for the Wildcats is trending toward playing. Also, J.B. Bradley is not on the report at all, which could be a sign that the number 3 wide receiver for the Wildcats could be back in the lineup. Still no Colby McAllister. He's been out the whole season so far for K-State. He's listed as out for this one. Adonis Moise and Bryce Nornberg, who's been the lead kick returner, both listed as questionable for K-State in their trip to Waco. Most notable portion of Baylor's initial availability report, starting running back Bryson Washington is listed as questionable. So those are your initial availability reports. It's a mouthful, but that is the expectation as we look ahead to Saturday's Big 12 action. Again, both KU and K-State on the road. K-State at Baylor, 11 a.m. KU at UCF, 6:30 p.m. kickoff. All right, give me the Chiefs-Jags injury report.
Well, for the Chiefs, as Andy Reid mentioned, if you were tuned in earlier, everyone practiced today. But shocker, often injured cornerback Christian Fulton, the only player limited in practice with that nagging ankle injury that he can't get over. He's the only one limited. Full Hollywood Brown with an ankle. Mike Dana back to full with a quad injury. We mentioned it last hour. Patrick Mahomes was a full participant with a groin issue. Charles Menahue, ankle, full participant. Juju Smith-Schuster, knee, full participant. Jawan Taylor, knee, full participant. Long snapper James Winchester with a hamstring issue. He was a full participant. Wide receiver Xavier Worthy still continuing to rehab while playing that shoulder injury. He was a full participant for the Jaguars. 2 guys didn't practice, and the rest on the list were limited. Yasir Abdullah, the linebacker, did not practice with a hamstring injury. Trayvon Walker, the defensive end, didn't practice with a wrist injury.
He had surgery, I think, yesterday.
Which is interesting.
Yeah, so he had an operation on his wrist, but there is still, like, the Jaguars are talking like he is day-to-day. They consider him day-to-day after wrist surgery. So there's a chance he could still go on Monday night. But obviously didn't practice the day after surgery. So There's that for Trayvon Walker.
My guy, former Washington great Diami Brown, wide receiver, shoulder was limited. Ezra Cleveland, the offensive lineman, was limited with a concussion and ankle injury. Chuma
Adoga,
the offensive lineman,
that's right.
limited with a knee issue. Anton Harrison, limited with an elbow issue, the offensive lineman. And Patrick McCarry, the offensive lineman, limited with a knee injury, along with Wyatt Millum, the offensive lineman, West Virginia grad.
Yeah, former Mountaineer.
Limited with the knee issue that's kept him out, I think, a good portion of the year. Eric Murray, safety, limited with a neck injury. And I can never figure out how to say this guy's first name.
I believe that is Basil Tootin.
Basil Tootin, the running back, limited with a shoulder injury. So a lot of guys banged up, especially on that offensive line for the Jaguars.
Yeah, that's they got a couple of important guys on the O-line.
That's 5 offensive linemen.
Yeah, and Murray's been starting at safety. Tootin's been effective spelling Travis Etienne. Obviously, Walker's got 2 sacks already this year. That is certainly an impactful, potentially, injury report for the Jaguars going into Sunday. I want to get into this story. It broke yesterday, and we didn't fit it into our headlines, and I want to fit it in here today. The Big Ten is in discussions about a private capital deal that would infuse at least $2 billion into the league and its schools. Pete Thamel and Dan Wetzel first to this story for ESPN. The discussions include a 10-year extension of the league's grant of rights until 2046, which would ensure long-term stability in the Big Ten. According to sources, the private capital deal and grant of rights extension have been discussed for months and presented in multiple forms. A deal and the grant of rights extension would also be a distinct blow to the outside entities attempting to form super leagues around college sports. Which college sports? Like one of them, maybe 2. While there is support from nearly the entire league, a few of the league's biggest brands, including Ohio State and Michigan, are still in discussions with the league. The aim is to have unanimous support before a vote. So I kind of always thought it was going to be the Big 12 who would invite private capital in before any other league.
They talked about it. It was on the table last summer.
They did. They had some open discussions about it, but now it is appearing that the Big Ten is now seriously considering this partnership with private capital. And it would create 20 equity shares in the Big Ten, comprising the 18 schools, the league itself, and the private capital company, which would get money back through the new entity through annual distribution in proportion to its financial stake. Let me be clear about what I think about private capital. It's bad. It ruins things. It takes things you love and it makes it worse, all in the name of paying back the private capital company. Because here's the thing. When you get private capital, they make an investment. They want it back. Okay, they're going to invest $2 billion into the Big 12. They want that $2 billion back. How are they going to get it? Probably teams are going to cut athletic programs, cut back on facilities, charge you more for tickets, for season tickets. Schools will go further into debt. This is not going to fix the debt problems for a school like Rutgers. Like Rutgers is going to be in debt forever because that's just how they operate. That's what they have chosen to be, a major player in college athletics, even though they don't win at the level or market at the level that you really need to be a moneymaker in big-time college athletics. So they're just going to be broke forever. I can see why this would maybe appeal to them, the short-term infusion of cash. I also see why Ohio State and Michigan are like, I don't know. So we'll see how far down the road this gets. But you invite private capital in, it gets into the walls, and it does. You wake up one day and you realize, oh man, we got black mold all up in this place. It's just everything is a little bit worse, little bit worse when you involve private capital. And I think it's I understand that there is desperation, not just on the part of the powers that be in college football, right? Like with the House settlement, you have to now revenue share with your athletes. And now they're wondering, well, how are we going to be able to do that? Like there's money in the banana stand. You can pay these athletes. What you're really asking is, how are we going to be able to do that and still keep all the riches that we had before?
Yep.
How are we going to stay paid? We don't like sharing. That was the whole premise behind college athletics needing to be essentially legally made to do this stuff, to share their revenues with the athlete. There had to be legal action because the administrators and the regents and the coaches and the athletic directors very much liked having their slice of the pie increase and increase and increase without having to share any of it with, the players. So now that they have to do that, they're wondering, well, okay, well, how can we break off the players and still keep our piece of the pie, not just as big, but continuing getting bigger and bigger and bigger? Line go up. That is the animating focus of pretty much everything in capitalist society. How do we make the line go up? And this is the newest way that these programs have decided that they want to see the line go up. Here's the other part of it, though. That extension of the grant of rights is important to note, because the Rutgerses of the world and the Purdues and the Illinois and the Michigan States of the world, they fear a future in which they are surplus to requirements in a college football super league. Like the Northwesterns, like they're just trying to secure the future for their programs to continue to have access to the big leagues as they currently stand. Because while a program like Ohio State or a program like Michigan or a program like Penn State, they can say, well, Super League wouldn't be so bad because we get to be a part of it. Washington maybe feels that way. Oregon definitely feels that way. USC definitely feels that way. If you're Rutgers, you can have a Super League without some Rutgers, right? Like you don't need any Rutgers. So this is obviously going to be driven by the have-nots in the Big 12 conference. Relative. I mean, they're the haves relative to like your group of 6 teams, but they're the have-nots relative to their peers in the conference. And those schools are really, really going to push for this, I have a feeling. Let's do a quick playoff roundup, shall we?
One more thing.
My bad.
One more thing with the playoff roundup.
It's time for the 580 Sports Talk Playoff Roundup.
Congratulations to the Los Angeles Dodgers and Detroit Tigers. They are the first 2 teams out of the wild card round. Dodgers finished off the Reds with an 8-4 win at Dodger Stadium. That was the only series that went only 2 games in the best-of-3 format. The other 3 going to a third game today. One of those just ended about 20 minutes ago. The Detroit Tigers scored 5 runs in the 7th inning to pull away from the Cleveland Guardians in a 6-3 win. So the Guardians came all the way back from 15.5 games back to win the American League Central, and the Tigers sent them packing in 3 games in their own home ballpark. As to who gets bragging rights for that, I'm here to listen to both sides of that argument. But the Tigers advance. They're going to play the Mariners in the division series, while the Dodgers will advance, take on the Phillies in a best-of-5 National League Division Series. Presently, the Chicago Cubs lead the San Diego Padres by a 2-0 score. That game is in the bottom of the 4th inning. And later on tonight, Yankees-Red Sox, Game 3. Yankees were come-from-behind winner. No, they were not come-from-behind winners. They very nearly gave away a lead, but they scored the go-ahead run in the 8th, 4-3 to win that game last night. So Game 3 of that series coming up later tonight. Mitch Holthus joins us next on 580 Sports Talk. 527 on 580 Sports Talk. Dan and Spencer with you, and we are pleased to be joined, as we are Thursdays throughout the Kansas City Chiefs season, by the voice of the Kansas City Chiefs, Mitch Holthus. His appearances on 580 Sports Talk are brought to us by Hy-Vee, your official tailgate headquarters for Kansas City Chiefs football, and by Azure Credit Union. Contact Crystal Rippey, Kirsten McCall, or Naseem Khan about the credit union advantage for your next home loan. Mitch, the Chiefs were rampant in a 37-20 win over the Baltimore Ravens, and that is the first time in a while it's felt, watching the offense in particular, like these guys can go do whatever they want and put whatever number they want on the board. It was a bit of a throwback offensive performance. It was a punishing defensive performance. Throw it all in a blender, and that was a very impressive win, even against a wounded Ravens team. That was a no doubt comprehensive victory for the Chiefs on Sunday.
Yeah, no question. But defensively, for the Chiefs, it was just the third straight superb performance. And the fact that, yes, it was a wounded Ravens team, but they were not wounded on offense. That was a team that was coming in with 111 points, and they still had Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews. They didn't have Ricard, the fullback guy, but they had everybody else. And so for the Chiefs to just pretty much obliterate that offense was astonishing. And then, to your point, to get Xavier Worthy back, which opened up so many things horizontally and vertically in the offense, yes. And then special teams, you get a 48-yard kickoff return, which leads to an answer field goal, and you get a 16-yard punt return, which leads to a touchdown, both setting up field position. Yes, and then it's about stops and steals, and the Chiefs get 2 takeaways and 3 fourth down stops, which are in essence takeaways. It was a brilliant performance.
I'll start on the defensive side. It really seemed like the Chiefs were able to impose their will on the game following the opening drive. It was similar in a sense to last year's season opener, where the Ravens put together a really good opening drive, went down and scored and took a lead, and then after that didn't do much effectively against the Chiefs defense. I know following week 1, there may have been some consternation in the kingdom about that group, but you mentioned it. 3 weeks in a row now, they've put out some really good football, and it's been a team effort, all 3 levels, depth, rotational guys. Everybody seems to be playing a part in this.
Well, and think about this. They hold the Giants 1 of 10 on third down. They hold the Ravens 3 of 10 on third down. That's 4 of 20 in 2 weeks in the NFL, and I don't care who you're playing. That's 16 stops on fourth down in 2 weeks, on third down, I should say, in a 2-week period. You just don't see that very often. And so you're thinking, man, what happened? What happened from week 1 when Charger receivers are running free? Now, I've got a theory on that. I mean, that trip was so clunky. There was no way our guys could have been ready to go in that game just because of the circumstances, but that sounds like an excuse. Still, the Chargers were doing whatever they wanted, seemingly, to get to those 27 points in Sao Paulo, Brazil. So I saw Drew Tranquill, and I asked him, what's going on these last 3 weeks? Because you played Jalen Hurts, the Giants, who were coming in flying high, and then Lamar Jackson, the number 1 offensive team in the NFL.
Well, I've mentioned it a few times, but it's been energy and execution, starting obviously with Spags on the defensive side and going through our player leadership. But we've just been executing at a high level. Guys have been on the same page, communicating. And then when you bring the energy, you get things like takeaways, you get things like sacks. And so to see those production plays coming because of our execution in the early downs has been really exciting.
So it sounds cliche, but energy and execution. Now, Spags, there's always a little bit of a learning curve every year with Spags, and even within a game. You mentioned the opening drive. The opening drive many times will cause anxiety for me because you'll see teams go down the field. But Spags actually uses those opening drives like a boxer taking blows in the first round to say, where's these punches coming from? Because in the second round to the 12th round, I'm going to deliver blows because now I know what your strategy is. There is a feeling out by Spags, and he's patient, more patient than I would be, to think, what are they going to do? We're going to give them this look. Here's what they're going to give us in counter to that look. And so here's what we're going to do to counter the counter. Because Spags is, and I've talked about this, and you guys know about this, we've talked about it for years. Spags is so complicated in his defensive approach. Personnel and scheme. Safeties, corners, safeties, backers, corners. In and out and in and out. Guys are lining up inside and outside. a quarterback really does not know from snap to snap what he's going to have to anticipate when he plays a Steve Spagnuolo defense.
On the flip side, as we speak with the voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus, presented by Hy-Vee and Azura Credit Union here on 580 Sports Talk, it feels like it has been a while since the questions for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs offense have been, how high can you fly, rather than, okay, is this thing going to come together? Because you could start to see the vision with Xavier Worthy back on the field. It just made everything else make a lot more sense. It opened up the middle of the field. The running game got going. The horizontal game along with the vertical game has been effective really the last 2 weeks. And I sensed a lightness in Patrick when he spoke to the media earlier today, just a feeling of not having the burden of proof, now having put some things out there that showed, hey, look, remember when it was we can score in the 30s whenever we like? This is going to be different than last year when we couldn't get more than 30 points and it was a running gag all season.
Well, a couple things here in answer to that was, one, yes, Worthy and what he does. But two, you'll recall a week ago, and it didn't put up big numbers in the New York Giant game, but you saw glimpses of it with Nico Remigio and Rashard Smith of the horizontal game, flip passes, end around, the jet sweep action, which has been so good for the Chiefs over the years with McCole Hardman and the like. But now all of a sudden, when you've got Xavier Worthy and or Rashard Smith running those plays, you've got somebody at 4-2 and 4-3 turning the corner. And so a play that may be designed for 10 or 12 or slow down a pass rush can become 35, because the Chiefs are really close now to getting to the state track meet with a 4x100 meter team. Because you throw in Tyquan Thornton, and we know how fast he is, but then you got Rashard Smith, and now you got Xavier Worthy. Rashee Rice is coming soon, but you've got a pretty good group of speed that can go vertical and horizontal. All the time. And then to open up the red zone, the most impressive thing for this game was the 4 touchdowns in the red zone, 4 different players, 4 different looks. And some of that was because of the horizontal game. The other thing, when I watched the video of those plays, and I saw him today, and I had to mention it to him, was the door hinge Juju Smith-Schuster. 3 of those 4 touchdowns, well, 1 was his, but the other 3, he influenced the play to open up to be the door hinge to get those touchdowns. So, yeah, a lot of things working here, and you're going to get Rice. And if you can stay healthy, and the injury report came out today, this is a really healthy team right now. In offense, everybody's there but Rice, then you're ready to roll.
They will be challenged this Monday by a Jacksonville defense playing as well as anybody in the league. The Jaguars at 3-1 host the Chiefs on Monday Night Football. They have forced 13 turnovers in the first 4 weeks of this season. The Chiefs have been very good at taking care of the ball. In what ways are the Jaguars going to try and create the havoc and create the turnovers that have been their calling card so far?
Speed. This is a fast Jaguar defense. Young and feisty and furious and fast. You're taking swimming lessons with the piranha. It's not super tricky Spagnuolo kind of defense, but you've got Devin Lloyd, who's all over the place at linebacker. 4 takeaways. That leads the National Football League. But then you've got Trayvon Walker. You've got Josh Hines-Allen, who is the most underrated edge rusher, I think, in the NFL. And then you got guys like Travis Hunter. I mean, there's just tons of speed. If he plays on defense, he only played 9 snaps last week on defense, but he's got 100+ snaps on defense and 100+ on offense. But it's just a really fast Jaguar defense, and that's where they kind of surprise you. They'll kind of ambush. Their blitzes are just faster than everybody else's, and then they can cover with speed. So one of the fascinating things in this Monday night matchup is that you're going to have speed against speed when the Chiefs have the ball. So it'll be fun to watch that.
Mitch Holthus joining us, the voice of the Chiefs, presented by Hy-Vee and Azura Credit Union here on 580 Sports Talk. The offensive matchup, the Jags offense against the Chiefs defense is interesting. Liam Cohen, obviously the first-year head coach, and he's gotten their running game on track in Jacksonville. I remember last year the Chiefs' run defense came into the Tampa Bay game playing really good football And Tampa Bay rushed it for 5 yards a carry and did it in a bunch of different creative ways. Of course, Liam Cohen was the offensive coordinator there last year. What makes the Jaguars running game so diverse and different, and what are the Chiefs going to have to do to slow it down?
Let's take Liam Cohen first. Interesting guy. How many years did he coordinate that Tampa Bay offense?
I believe it was just one.
Okay. What was he at the year before that?
Was he the University of Kentucky?
How many years?
One?
Yep. And he was then, where was he at before that? Rams. Yeah, one. Kentucky before that, one. Like, he's just been at 1 year at all these spots. He's really an interesting study. And I thought about trying to see if Robert Saleh would jump on the plane with us and put him in a Chiefs 3/4 zip and see what that would do during pregame warmups. But that's a whole nother matter. I divert.
Saleh might want to be in a 3-point stance against Liam Cohen.
I'd pay $10 to watch that. 50-yard line, we're not even involved. We're just surrounded and like, watch. All right. What he's done is rediscovered Travis Etienne. Now, let's go back to your point about the takeaways. You can get takeaways, and I don't care if you're Topeka Hayden or Care Paravel. If you don't do anything with those takeaways, they don't matter. Now, here's what the Jags have done. This gets to my offensive point, because you've asked me about the Jags offense. 13 takeaways that have led to 41 points. 13 takeaways. You realize 9 times in 4 weeks the Jags have started on the opponent's half of the field. Started drives. And in the NFL, that's instant points, usually instant 7 points. So this Jaguar offense has been helped by this takeaway piranha defense. Now, Trevor Lawrence has not had an awesome start to the year. In fact, one of your nuggets of the night was last week against San Francisco. Impressive win. But it was the first time in 7 games he's not thrown an interception. Here's another nugget of the night. Since he was the 1-1 pick in the draft, Trevor Lawrence has 72 giveaways. That's the most of any player in the National Football League. And I know he's had some injuries, but he sometimes he's got 4 interceptions in 4 weeks. They've got the 13 takeaways, and you think, man, they got to be double digits. Well, they're +9 because they've given it away 4 times. The Chiefs have an opportunity to do the same and turn the cannon on the Jaguar offense, but it starts and ends, not ends, but starts with slowing down Travis Etienne. That's what Liam Cohen has done, is rediscover that dude. Remember in 2022, he had about 1,300 all-purpose yards. We played him twice that year. We played him in November, and then we played him in the divisional game, which was the Chad Henne hero game. But the Chiefs shut down Travis Etienne in both those games because he's got 10-plus runs. That's first in the league, I believe, or second. And then he's got 2 10-plus touchdown runs. So he's explosive, both as a runner and as a receiver. And we know what he was like at LSU.
Mitch Holthus, the voice of the Kansas City Chiefs, joins us every Thursday on the program, presented by Hy-Vee and Azura Credit Union. Mitch, I would be remiss if I did not ask for a few more nuggets going into this matchup as the Chiefs try to get back over 500 on Monday night.
Yeah, you mentioned the takeaways. That's where it's really interesting. And here's one that includes that. The Jaguars are the 3rd team in 30 seasons with 3+ takeaways and giving up fewer than 400 yards allowed in each of the first 4 games. Only 3 teams in 30 seasons. The 96 Green Bay Packers, who won the Super Bowl, and then the 2002 Philadelphia Eagles, coached by
Andy Reid.
Yep, and the Jim Johnston. That was the Jim Johnston Eagles blitzing defense, which was fantastic.
And would Reid have been on that staff in Green Bay in '96, or had he moved on by then?
No, he was on that staff.
Yeah.
He was the quarterback coach.
Yeah.
No, he was. I'm going to mention that because when I ended the pregame show, I was going to mention exactly that. Like, you're part of all 3 of these, or 2 of these. You're going to play the 3rd one. But the fact that yes, and so and the Chiefs beat Green Bay that year at Arrowhead Stadium. So that's really historic. And the Jags are the first team in 42 years to have 3+ takeaways and have 30+ minutes of time of possession in each of the first 4 games. You're going, well, hey, how are they 3-1? I just gave it to you. The other thing we didn't mention about, they're dangerous in the return game. Parker Washington last week, very aggressive, 87-yard punt return for a touchdown at San Francisco. You're going, wow, 87 yards. That's, he's getting the ball to 13. Well, last year, punt return, not kick return, punt return of 96 yards against the New England Patriots. That's taking a punt at the 4 and going to the house. So the Chiefs have to deal with Parker Washington.
Mitch, it is always a pleasure speaking with you on these Thursdays. Safe travels down to Duval and bring back a win and a Chiefs record over 500.
Yeah, Liam might want to rethink that news conference with the Duval. I don't think that went over great. But, hey, I think he's trying to be there more than 1 year.
We may not be. We may not have been the target audience for that one.
Yeah, probably not. So, but we'll let that go. But anyway, let's see if Liam stays more than a year, because usually he's just been, get there, pack, and move.
Well, thanks again, Mitch. We appreciate you. We'll talk next week. That is Mitch Holthus. Again, his appearances on this program are brought to us by Hy-Vee, your official tailgate headquarters for Kansas City Chiefs football, and by Azure Credit Union. Contact Crystal Rippey, Kirsten McCall, or Naseem Khan about the credit union advantage for your next home loan. We'll take a timeout, come back with more 580 Sports Talk next. One of our listeners from the 785 on the text line really appreciated Mitch Holthus' shout out to Care Paravel there. Says, I hope he never retires. Me too. I hope Mitch does Chiefs games forever. Hope he keeps joining us on 580 Sports Talk forever. You can text the program 785-272-9429. Our thanks again to Mitch. You missed any part of that interview? If you're watching on the YouTube stream, just hit rewind. Just drag the little red dot back about 15 minutes. You can watch the whole thing. You can also watch us archived on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. You can listen to the podcast on Spotify by searching for 580 Sports Talk, or just on our website, 580wibw.com. It's a great place to go find our podcast as well. Great place to catch up on anything you might have missed on an edition of 580 Sports Talk.
Shout out, don't know who you are because our platform, the Spotify for Podcasters platform, doesn't show us. But shout outs to our 2 new followers on Spotify.
Hey.
In the last, I guess, 3 or 4 days. I check it periodically. I hadn't checked it, but I just opened it. It said +2 followers.
How about that? Hey, pimping it out kind of got us some more followers. That doesn't surprise me. We should mention it more often.
I mean,
that we're on Spotify, 580 Sports Talk.
The best part about following somebody on Spot or following an account is that, like, it will pop up in your home screen.
Yeah.
So whenever our new episodes are posted, if you miss the show for the day, say you're running around running errands, you just open Spotify and boom, it'll pop up.
Take you right to them. Exactly. I wanted to get to this Royals tidbit today. I've been saving it for the end of the show. It's like a reflex. This segment has been the Royals segment
forever,
since March.
Yeah.
We just, we wind down the 5 o'clock hour. We preview the day's Royals game. Obviously, there are no more Royals games, but this is the Royals segment. So my brain is wired to talk about baseball right now. One of the unintentionally funniest things that JJ Picollo said in his postseason press conference on Tuesday was when he called Kyle Isbel one of the Royals' most improved offensive players. Most improved offensive players is a direct quote. That is what he said about Kyle Isbel, who raised his OPS from 654 in 2024 all the way up to 654 in 2025. Now, to be fair, did have a higher batting average. He hit 255, only hit 229 the year before. His on-base percentage only went up 14 points, means he walked less. And his slugging percentage went down, which was not what you want. He hit fewer home runs this past year. He did have a stretch where he did get hot there. I think it was in June. He got a little warm at the bottom of the order. He is a terrific bunter. He is a plus defender. He's arbitration eligible. He's not going to cost a lot of money. The Royals are going to keep him, and he's going to be the center fielder next year. And I don't have a problem with Kyle Isbel in center field every day batting 9th if, in fact, he is your 9th best hitter.
Yeah.
The problem is that he has not been the 9th best hitter for the Kansas City Royals in the last handful of years. So if there were an upgrade to be made on the free agent market and it were a bat that can play some center field, I'd at least mull it over if I were JJ Picollo, especially because Isbel is just about unplayable against left-handed pitching. You really have to find a platoon partner for him at the very least. I think Christopher gets it right in the YouTube comments. He's got Gold Glove caliber defense. Some metrics like his defense a lot, others not as much, but everybody agrees it's a plus glove. Like it's not. I don't think he's like Lorenzo Cain out there, who should have won more Gold Gloves than he did, but it's a plus glove. And he says the Gold Glove caliber defense is worth a 665 OPS if he can bat 9th and he has boppers flanking him. In other words, not what he had this season. Yeah, that's exactly right. They need more offense, and then you worry less about Kyle Isbel OPSing 654. Like, you can live with that. Him being a good bunter and setting the table for a leadoff hitter who's more productive than Jonathan India.
Yeah. I wonder, so I don't know, obviously, how they're going to do it, but the Nationals have a conundrum in the outfield because they have one of the best defensive players in baseball at center field.
Yes, Jacob Young, very good defender.
Who literally ended the season with like back-to-back best catches of the season in the final weekend. Yeah. But also, they have James Wood in center field or outfield. They have Robert Hassel. They have Dylan Cruz and Darren Lyle, like three other guys that played well in the outfield this year. So I don't know, but I wonder if they're going to get rid of look to shop Jacob Young.
Very possible.
Because he is the oldest of all three of those guys. I just mentioned.
And we don't know how their new front office is going to operate. You say the same thing about Denver, like the Colorado, the Rockies. They are going to have a new front office. Maybe they'd be willing to move on from Brenton Doyle, who's been a truly elite defensive center fielder for the last 3 years. The bat has kind of come and gone. The center field options in free agency are bad. just to be completely honest, you're not going to fill the spot in free agency. If you're going to go find a center fielder, it's going to be via trade. So I think the Royals will probably stand pat with Isbel, and I think that will be fine, provided they really do upgrade the offense around him. I don't dislike Kyle Isbel as a player. Like, he's good at what he's good at, and he's not good at what he's not good at. Like, I think that's fine. I don't think he's ever tried to be anything more than what he is good at, which I have appreciated. He hasn't tried to be a 20 home run guy. That would be a disaster. But a better offense around Kyle Isbel makes that kind of a player look a lot better. We'll take one more timeout. We'll come back with the final word of 580 Sports Talk. Final word time on 580 Sports Talk. Spencer Dupuis, what you got?
Yeah, we got quite a few days. I mean, obviously a few days until the Chiefs play Monday night. But it's not about the Chiefs necessarily. This is about Monday Night Football. I just realized there are more doubleheaders on Monday Night Football and 2 coming up in back-to-back weeks. Did you know that?
The people have spoken, and they really want 2 games on Monday night.
Yeah, I guess so. But it's funny because one of them is like we've seen so far this year, where one will start at 6:15 Central, the other will start at 7:15. And then the second week of the back-to-backs, one starts early and one starts late. So it's a true doubleheader.
A true doubleheader.
Like one starts at 6, and then the other, I think at 6, and the other starts at 9.
A Monday night West Coast kickoff is diabolical.
Yeah.
Like, I don't appreciate the NFL doing this to me.
That was just my 2 cents.
Final word for me today. It's amazing what a difference, not just a win or 2 wins in a row, but a performance like Sunday's can do for the perception of a team and for the vibe of a team. You can tell things feel different, things feel lighter, things feel a lot better around One Arrowhead Drive right now. Not that the Chiefs ever were going to suffer from a crisis of confidence, because they're champions, and champions don't typically go through those kinds of crises. But you can definitely tell that not just that they won on Sunday, but the way that they won felt really, really good and infused this team with a little bit more pep in their step as they prepare to head out to Jacksonville. I saw some people throwing around the idea that it could be a trap game on Monday night, a look-ahead spot to another marquee matchup at home the next week against Detroit. I don't think so. I don't think, again, champions typically don't walk into trap games. I think the Chiefs are going to use this early portion of the season to rediscover themselves and get back to being a high-flying offense in particular. That'll do it for us, except for overtime. We got the 580 Sports Talk overtime, more audio from the Chiefs today. Then at 6:30, we've got Thursday Night Football between the Rams and the 49ers. Until tomorrow, for Brendan and Spencer, I'm Dan. Good night.